Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the gojenn podcast. Today is Sunday, March 26th. Maybe. Sunday? It's, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's not the main deal about the podcast. I'm just here to say hello to all my friends who are coming back. Hey, you're new? I'm so glad you joined us because we're going to have some fun today. I'm going to talk about some of my yarny adventures. So pull up a chair, get you something to drink, and we'll have a little time together today. After last week's podcast, episode 100, yay! Woohoo! Okay, so I'm going to compete with the birds because it's almost spring, and I'm really happy about that. But anyway, after last week's podcast, I did decide that I'm not going to continue with the sweater anymore. I have, this is my arm, and I have about this much done. There's my elbow, so not quite to the elbow. And so I have that much left to do, and then some finished work around the collar. And I may pick it up anytime. I'm not going to hide it from myself. I'm going to leave it in my regular basket of whips, and if the mood strikes me, I'll knit a few rounds. So we'll see. But not today. No, not today, because I'm having way too much fun with all my other yarny goodness. So let's just jump right in. Let's see. I have had so much fun. My mojo is back with a vengeance, and that's because I'm happy and excited about the projects that I'm working on. Slogging through that sweater with no visible increases, really. You know, I would knit for 2 hours and I've done 1.5 inches. That's so depressing. So I pulled back out my Tunisian 10-stitch scrap sock yarn blanket, and I have information. I'm going to try to be a better podcaster and give you the information about who, what, when, where, why, etc. This is the Tunisian crochet 10-stitch blanket, and it is by Dedry, D-E-D-R-Y, U-Y-S. That's what I'm going with. And this is like a 10 or 15 yarn mini, and so that's how much distance I get out of mini. One mini. And then, but you see, like this is what I had left over on a skein of sock yarn. This was, but so some are minis and some are leftovers, scraps. And that's just what I want to do with this. After I finished crafting yesterday, and I was just gonna watch a podcast, which I watch podcasts while I'm crafting, but I wound up several minis to use next, and these are just scraps that I have left over from other projects, probably a sock yarn blanket square. So the one thing that I like the best about this project is that it uses the scraps completely. So it's not like I'm going to make a square and have this much left over. What are you going to do with this much left over? You know, you can't throw it away. And when are you going to use this? You're going to need either more than this, or you just need this much, you know. So I love that about this project. I keep going until the yarn runs out. And be proud of me, because also last night I wove in all the ends, all of them, except for this right here, which is the next block, and with crochet you just keep that last loop on the hook and then start going from there. I love this project. I love it. It makes me happy. Another wonderful thing about it is, you know, you add in a mini, you can quit. It's not one of the things where you feel the need to, you got to put in some hours on this. No, you can just add a mini that takes 30 minutes maybe, if that. So, and that is living in my piece bag that I made. Yes, I have a sewing machine, and I lined it with some satin fabric that I had. I made pillowcases the other year, and so I had the satin, and I just put it in the bag, and it is perfect for the inside of a bag because it's slippery and wonderful. I'm sorry, was I slouching? I should sit up more. Ugh, my mom, I can hear my mom now. Okay, so that's one project, my 10-stitch Tunisian. And I have probably, in that, I've probably added about 2 times around this week. But I'm not excited, you know, that's not my objective, because if it's going to be a blanket, it's this big now, it's got a ways to go. And that's just going to, like some people are doing the, all the knit sock yarn blankets. Well, that's fine. This is, you know, and those are just ongoing projects until you croak or whatever, or they stop making yarn. But anyway, no, they wouldn't do a thing like that. It's just going to keep going forever. I'm not worried about it. I love that. That makes me so happy. So, everything else that I'm going to show you, I've started this week. That had already been started, but I didn't give myself permission to work on it because I had to get the sweater done. The sweater of doom. So then, let's see, Friday I took the day off work because my husband had a doctor's appointment in another town, and it took us about an hour and a half to get there. So on the way back, we stopped at the Michaels, and I picked up 2 Karen cakes. They were $5 a piece, and the colorway is Fairy Cake. Isn't it pretty? I hope it's coming through. It's just a beautiful watery aqua and blue. And anyway, I have started a corner-to-corner blanket. If you're a crocheter, you're probably familiar with this pattern. I got a puppy dog wanting to know what I'm doing. But it's completely mindless. It's very difficult to screw up because you just do the same thing over and over and over. The pattern, Phooey, I did not write it down. Bad podcaster. I wrote it down that I was going to look it up. No, I didn't. But if you're wanting the pattern, excuse me, it's the corner to corner. And you start here. And then you keep going. And I even wove my ends in on this. Such a good crafter. Gold star. Bling. So, I love this. And I am going to, the way this works is you crochet increasing as you go up. And then you get to where you decide is halfway. And then you decrease the rest of the way. So I got 2 skeins of this yarn, and I'm going to increase until 1 skein is done, and then I'll pick up the other skein and decrease, and I should run out about right with the yarn. So that made me really very excited. So what this blanket is going to be for, most likely my older daughter is volunteering at a nursing home, and she said we sure could use some of your Afghan's mom, so this is probably going to go to the nursing home. Because it's, why, you may ask? Because it's not some really precious yarn. Okay, it's Caron Cakes. $5 for a big skein that has 383 yards. Okay, so it's not something precious that I'm making, but it'll be great. Probably a two skein Afghan, I think, would be just fine for someone in a nursing home. Okay, so that's 2 projects. Isn't this fun? Isn't this more fun than going, oh God, here comes the sweater again. She's going to show us her sweater. How fabulously fascinating. For those of you who don't know, if you happen to be new, I've been working on that sweater since the 1st of February, right? Trying to get 2 sleeves and the body finished. Or the 1st of January, yes, because it's due for the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup by the end of March. But I've given up on that, and I am so happy that I have. So I cast on a new pair of socks. Woohoo! These will be for my sister, which, hello, sis, if you're watching, don't forget to send me an email with the length of your feet. Don't forget. These are being made with Patton's Croy sock, 4-ply, and the colorway is Greener Pastures. If you can see, it's green and gold, gray, and black. So let me take these out of my yarn cozy. I worked on these at my husband's doctor's appointment, and I just felt like I was a ninja because I was using all these needles, you know, kind of juggling. Sorry, excuse me, got to pick them up. These are the Knit Picks DPNs. I don't remember. This is Knit Picks color, you know, the color of the wooden ones. I love them. These are my absolute favorites. So I'm knitting these. I'm using a 64 stitch leg. I did the cuff in 2x2 rib because 1x1 rib makes me want to throw away the knitting needles and never see them again. So look how pretty. To my sister, don't look. You can look. I don't care. You're going to get them no matter what, because she seemed the most impressed with my other knitted socks. I mean, I think everybody, my mom, my daughter, and my sister, they were all, you know, ooh, you made a sock. And, but my sister was like, ooh, look, it fits almost, except for it didn't. So these will hopefully fit her if she sends me her foot length measurement. Because I know that the socks that I had made previously did not fit her. So you need socks that fit. I do like my little double point cozy, but I really would like one of those little snap ones. I've seen them on Etsy for like $6, but I'm trying to be a good girl with my no spend. Yes, I know I spent $10 on yarn for the Caron Cakes, but they were on sale for $5 a piece, and originally they were $7.50 or $8 or something. So I got a good deal, and it's going to be a blanket, and I'm going to donate it to a good cause. Don't judge. Not that you are. I'm just, you know. So anyway, and this is some yarn that I already had in stash. So I'm enjoying them. It's just, I enjoy knitting socks. Who would have guessed it? And they are living in my Fat Squirrel bag. If you don't watch Amy Beth on her podcast is The Fat Squirrel Speaks, she is hilarious, and she does beautiful work knitting and crochet, knitting and spinning mainly. She doesn't usually crochet. And then the last thing that I have to show you that's new for this week is, this is a bag my daughter made me. And she thought, I don't know if you're going to like it, but it's perfect because the yarn, you know, especially something like this. This is another Karen cake project. And it just fits down in her bag perfectly. This is going to be a one skein project. This is the colorway Boston Cream. And if you've been a viewer for a while, you know that I made a bunch of hats over last fall. So this is a skein that was left from my hat making. And I wasn't in the mood to make another hat. So I've decided I'm making, this is called the Snowdrops Mod Scarf. And it is by Megan Meyer. It's a one skein Karen Cakes scarf. It's nice. It's pretty mindless. It's a 4-row repeat. Easy to remember. I really like that I'm going to have a whole scarf in just about no time. Sorry about this neighborhood sounds. I think there's a basketball game going on somewhere. Another thing that I wanted to mention, that sweater sleeve, I could work on that for 2 hours and I would have this much. 2 hours of solid, continuous work, and I've got this much done. In 2 hours with this, yes, I know it's worsted versus the Malabrigo, and the sweater is DK. It's not sock or fingering, but it's DK. But I had like this much done in 2 hours of concentrated work, you know. That's what I love. And this Karen Cake yarn is soft. It's not crunchy like Red Heart Super Saver. But it is this Karen Cakes are 80% acrylic and 20% wool. So I don't know if that's what gives it the softness or what, but it's really stretchy. And after I'm all done, I'm going to put tassels on the end. They do that in the pattern, and I think that's what drew my eye to that pattern, because it's really just, you know, you just increase up to the middle and then decrease down to the end, and it's very, very easy, which, you know, that's the idea, but I'm having to keep track of how many repeats I do. I've done 55, no, I'm on row 55, and I go to row 83 before I start decreasing. But anyway, I did say that it was the Snowdrops Mod Scarf by Megan Meyer. Oh, the sock pattern that I'm going to use for my sister's sock, I'm going to try the Megan Williams, the Stockinette Zombie. She has the Spacious OMG heel, and I think that will be really good for this pair of socks because my sister has I think she has the biggest foot in my family, but my mother would argue with that. I don't care. Private family joke there, and so for 2 of my viewers, they'll get it. But anyway, I am going to use the Spacious OMG heel for that. So that is the extent of my yarny fun, and boy has it been fun. I will come home from work and I'll say, do I want to work on that or do I want to start something new? Something new, something new. Oh, work on your 10 stitch. Oh, work on your sock. It's just so much fun. I'm having fun with it. That's what you have to put up with when you podcast outside, right? Leaf blowers. Okay, let's see. I talked about all of my projects. And, okay, next. Last week, on my 100th episode, I had my prize drawing for my 100th episode. Excuse me, my dogs are looking at me like I'm supposed to say something. I don't know what it is. But I had the prize drawing for a pattern from Gimme Yarn 418. And one of the winners was Jan, and she said that she would like to just pass the pattern on to someone else for personal reasons that she gave, and that's absolutely fine. Very, very kind and generous of her. I appreciate that. I really do, Jan. So I chose another name, and so Libby Neal. Libby Neal. Are you, there you are, okay. You just need to contact me on Ravelry and let me know which one of Erin's patterns you would like. Hi! You didn't know that you might be chosen today, did you? Yay! And also, I have not heard from Teresa Scott. I just checked Ravelry before I started podcasting today, and I don't have a message from Teresa Scott. I would love to give you a free pattern. Plus, I want to go ahead and order the one that I want for myself, which is Down the Rabbit Hole. If you want to go look at Erin's patterns at Gimme Yarn 418, it's a really beautiful shawl, and it's using the more of the Karen cakes in the Fiesta colorway, which I just may happen to already have in my stash. So that means I don't have to buy any yarn. Yay! Okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about today is the budgeting, because it seems like it's a big deal and it's hard for people to do. But this is it. This is all a budget is. It is not going to bite you. You start off with your net pay, or at least that's what I do. You could use your gross pay and then have a line for your insurance and whatever else comes out before you have, taxes and whatever. But for me, it's just easiest to do the net pay. I get paid twice a month, on the 8th and the 23rd. What bureaucrat came up with that? So anyway, I have one set up for the 8th payday and one set up for the 23rd. Columns is what ones are. And then over here I just list out my bills, like my mortgage, Netflix, utilities, cell phone, cable, and then so everything right in here, that's automatic. I have most all of my bills on automatic pay from my bank, so I don't have to do anything except make sure there's money in there to cover them. And then down here are flexible things like groceries and dog stuff and car stuff, camping, spending money, doctors and prescriptions. So see, that's all it is. And you start off with what you make, and then you come down here and you have all of your, this is income, this is outgo, and the difference is what you have left. And if you're following Dave Ramsey, he says you should always have a zero on the bottom line, because if you have extra, it should be going against your debt that you've listed in your minimum payments up here. So that you should always have a zero down here at the bottom. I'm working on that. So, somebody had asked me how you set up the budget. There's tons of videos, there's blogs, there's, you name it, there's apps, but this is all you need. And I really suggest pencil and paper. Why not? Go for it. It may take you a day or two to dread doing it, but it won't take you but 15 minutes or so to actually do it. And that's telling your money where to go instead of it just saying goodbye. That's what Dave says, and he's right. The idea behind the budget is Every dollar that comes in should have a place to go, a useful place to go. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is what I did one night while I was watching YouTube or Netflix. I forget. I did this little doodle border, and I started off with a green pen and just went around the edge. Well, that was so pretty, and I made some little leaves. Then I went back and I colored in the leaves. Well, then I thought it needed some flowers, so I went back with another marker and just made some flowers. And isn't that pretty? And it probably took me 10 minutes. It took longer for me to decide which color to use next, because that really is difficult. Okay, I have one more thing to tell you, and that is to be watching out. Come here, do you want to come up? No. To be watching out, I am going to be launching my blog in April. I think most people start off with a blog and then they come to YouTube. Not me, I like to do things backwards. I have had the YouTube channel now for 2 years. Oh, and I have 200 subscribers now. Yay! That was earlier this week. I had to tell my grandson because he's the one who said, just do it, Grammy. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Do the podcast. If nobody watches, who cares? But there's a couple of you out there who are watching, and for that I am eternally grateful. But anyway, so I've had the podcast for 2 years, and now I'm going to have a blog. And the blog will go a little bit more into depth about things that I'm interested in. I am a baby boomer, so some of these things will be centered around the boomer life. There's a lot of us. But so I'm going to talk about lifestyle things and camping and crafting and loving my planner and how I use it. And I will be at the end of this journal, which is one book, and I've just gotten to halfway. So I would say another 3 months. Because this is January, February, and March. And so this will hopefully be April, May, and June. I'm moving into a larger size. I'm going into the A5, which one of you said that you had saved up for the wide A5. I'm looking into that. I'm just favoriting things like crazy all over the internet and on Etsy. So I don't know what I'll do for a cover, but I am going to use the A5 for my bullet journal. And just so you know, also in here I have a notebook for YouTube and the blog ideas, because I want to do it right. And then this is my budget book, which once I get my budget going smoothly, I really plan to just incorporate it in my monthly pages in my bullet journal. But right now I'm still kind of bumpy with it. April will be my third month, because I started in February. So we will see. So anyway, thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, that would make me happy. And let me go back and remind myself. Libby, Neil, and Teresa Scott. Send me a message in Ravelry to tell me which pattern from Gimme Yarn 418 you would like for your prize. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me today for a little while. I appreciate it more than you can know. I love your comments. Do you have any ideas for my blog? Do you have any ideas for things I need to do? Let me know. No problem. I love reading your comments. I love it. So leave me a like, subscribe, and I will see you next week. Until then, I wish you nothing but love and laughter. See you in April.